Welcome to Spirit of the North, except I have FREECAM so I can break the immersion. With this FREECAM I get to have a nice, close look at things. Something cool about doing this in the title screen is that you can find all these mountains which you cannot see right from the actual menu screen. Now it's time to explore Out of Bounds in Chapter 1. With also being able to pause time, you get to be real close and personal with these things. And right outside of this cutscene's camera's view, you can see these floating rocks. I'm pretty sure they are used as guidelines for the devs to tell where the fox should be running to and from. Panning the camera up from this terrain, you can see this mess in the distance. If you do not include the first couple scenes from Chapter 1, this is the entirety of the chapter. Here you can see the fox teleporting from scene to scene. This is an accurate recreation of Iceland. It is now at the end of this scene where the fox teleports really close to the Chapter 1 area. Here's how close this is to where the gameplay actually begins. The camera was away for 5 seconds and this fox just gave birth to another one. Then he leaves because he has better business to do. Also in the scene before this, the fox dies. Then the fox that committed mitosis is back. When retrieving this dead guy's staff, these rocks fall. They fall quite a distance below the ground. They go this far. After some time, the pieces begin to disappear. The spirit fox rests over here until you wake her up, even when you're not even remotely close. Here's this scene from an alternate point of view, aka FREECAM view. I didn't notice this at all in my normal playthroughs, but the spirit fox takes this little cave path. After demanding her to open up these ice thingamajigs, they just ease into the floor. At this part, the spirit fox hops around in a place where you cannot go. If we see where she goes when she's off camera, this happens. Only her tail remains alive. In a normal playthrough, if you head over to this location, you can spot this black thing in the distance. Keep in mind this is a lot clearer for me because I have fog disabled and the graphics set to the below minimum. I'll show you what this is in FREECAM soon. The spirit fox returns over here. She has no clip on. Okay, we're closer to the black thing now. I'll show you what it's about. This looks neat, doesn't it? It's the spirit fox and the player fox. Kinda looks like that they're playing around. And the spirit fox has some funky shading, which I like at this angle. You can't find anything else around this black patch, it's only the two foxes. When I first found out about this, I asked the devs about it. Here are their responses. First, Jacob says, "I forgot that was in there. That's a little scene Taylor made for a promo screenshot. I believe it's at the bottom of our website." I'm not sure if he meant the Play Spirit of the North website or something because I can't find it. Soon later, Taylor responded too. He sent this image and said, "It's leftovers from creating this promo shot." Well, that's an interesting find, isn't it? So initially, the player fox had a different animation and there was a totem stone. Some more info was shared. Taylor added, "It's one of my favorite shots too. If I remember correctly, this was one of our first promo shots. The totem stone was actually added fairly late in development as a way to help the players see their progress. It was a very similar composition." And wow, that screenshot is old. That's crazy. 5 years. Moving on. If we take a peek past this tunnel early, we can find a duplicate spirit fox. The sliding spirit fox just disappears past the tunnel, giving the illusion that she just quickly went through the rocks. Then that sitting spirit fox disappears in the next cutscene for a new one to appear. I don't think this is how walking on slopes works. Here's where the player fox falls to at the end of the cutscene. On to chapter 2. This one is not hiding much, but here's what I found. While the game loads for the scene, you can see this for a split second. And then the spirit fox just majestically appears. This part just still looks cool, even with the wrong perspective and potato graphics. When the spirit fox is infusing you with light, you can see the very moment in this cutscene where the fox gets swapped out for a new one. You also see this in normal gameplay. And if you missed it, for a couple of frames, the fox was in its default unanimated state. Finally, this happens during the next loading screen. Moving on to chapter 3. Initially here I noticed that there are 2 wisps, but this only happens when you load from chapter 2 to chapter 3. You may also notice here some of the geometry from chapter 2 remains. A couple days later I opened chapter 3 again, and yes, I can confirm, there's only 1 wisp now. Here's the trigger for the first cutscene in chapter 3. Let's just take a peek at what the wisp does over here. Yup, just as I expected, the spirit fox no clips again. Mind if I mesmerize you with the wisp over here, even with potato graphics? Yeah, I thought you wouldn't mind. This set of stone pillars get moved down in this sort of manner when you infuse the totem with light. Some parts are not modeled on the bottom. Over here I was just messing around with some commands and I found show static meshes. What this basically does is hide all meshes that are static, well, hence the name. The terrain is technically static, but it's terrain, not a mesh, so it remains. So we really just see terrain, and maybe a few things here and there, but here's a puddle in the middle of the terrain. So these puddles are not separate assets. Here is a bridge everybody likes to watch fall, let's be real. But of course, I'm gonna use the FREECAM to show you the stone getting pushed further inside of existing stone, and also it's modeled on the bottom for some reason, because why? Before crossing this bridge, I found a nice opportunity to do some parkour, and while I was on this little rock stone thing, I found this. It's pretty cool. It's just hidden up there. You can see that in normal gameplay just fine though. Let me just show you how much water there is behind this leakage. There's not much, it just leaks forever though. While underneath everything, I found this. It's pretty cool. It's the splashing thing that comes down when you open the thingy-majig. Well, it extends a long distance, and it's layered on top of water. When the thing opens, you see it moving and morphing and transforming, and it's still layered behind certain objects, but layered in front of water. Over here, I noticed even more of these water splashy thingies, but of course that's because there are a lot of zones here where they have the water fall out of rocks, and it uses this for each of them. Here is a patch of stone pillars which is forever placed below the ground, never to be seen again, though it has some water leaking out of it, which is pretty cool. Yes, here are more moving stones, and also that splash thingy is being used there. It's morphing, you can see it. Wow, it's so quiet. The music ended here. Fill in some splash sounds. No, I won't do that. Once you've flooded this whole area, the spirit fox wisp just comes over here and starts jumping over and over again until you make it over there. It looks neat though. On your way over there, you can make these rocks fall, and they're so much fun to watch because they just fall underneath the water without any water physics. It's just dropping, and sometimes they do some kind of wacky stuff down there. Here, I think I have a nice angle here. Well, they didn't do really much. Whatever, I think I lost some footage. Anyway, here's some water over here. It's just here waiting. It's just waiting inside the rocks to spill out. Oh wait, that is when it spills out. Well, yeah, the water stretches around quite a bit. You can see that splash thingy there again. That was a mess, but anyway, not as much as these rocks when they fall here. These three just tackled each other like that. They're clipping. Infusing the next stone, you can see that rock just pops off immediately at the top. Dang, that has some thrust. Anyway, at the bottom of these rocks, there's again no modeling on the bottom for some of them. I certainly liked this one. There's just this big bubble of water that expands and like contracts and then immediately disappears. This miniature waterfall is actually just a series of 2D planes with some effects applied. It's pretty neat though, like it doesn't look bad. Also, underneath the water, there's a whole lot of geometry put in play here to make the structure. I feel like it's an asset that's not used to its full potential. I also explored some interiors of some structures you cannot get to. Coming back to some more geysers, we gotta see this bubble thing come at play again. It's just beautiful, isn't it? Look, just watch that. Boom! Like, it just shrinks and expands. Here are some stone pillars getting pushed below the floor, opening up this weird pathway out of bounds. I don't know why I'm talking like this. Here's a closer look at the fox on top of this stone thingy that gives you powers. And now a nice viewing angle of when this thing activates. Inside, I get a peek of this particle effect, and there's like this bundle of light, and it's from all the particles that get pulled in during this phase. And I just found out that the reason why they're going in this ball is because they're trying to, the closer they are to the center, the faster they go, and when they're in the middle, they keep going back and forth. The fox over here getting his powers actually looks pretty basic in the animation. Now finally, here's this powerful spirit bark from under the floor. These black goop thingies just go wild right at the end. You know the deal, here's some more stones moving below the floor. Check it out everyone, we're on to chapter 4. Here's a quick look at that entrance to that place. Those pillars don't have geometry on some of the sides again. Here's a silly angle of the first spirit bark in chapter 4. Chapters 4 and 5 share the same terrain, so I decided to fly over to where like the ending of the game would be, and after that I flew over underneath here to visit where you go into chapter 6 initially from chapter 5, and I could see all these rocks. Watch how abrupt the disappearance of this black stuff is after you spirit bark at this thing using the spirit form. This inside only black geometry thing just disappears out of nowhere. In this underground section where you unlock the ability, appropriately this moving pillar stretches very far underneath the floor. Here's that patch of light particles again. I found this by complete accident, but there's this enlightable stone underneath the floor in a random spot as it seems. Here's that pillar platform moving up now. I found this infused gate out of complete accident too, although I think this is used to replace one of the other gates when they are lightened. Check out the terrain here behind these rocks, it's pretty solid. Anyway, these are the gates that I think I was talking about there, because when I fly back to the out of bounds ones, they're open now, they're no longer infused. In the end, the active gate just sinks into the floor. This is the interior of a tower that you normally cannot reach. The previous gates were stored underneath a map because there was not enough horizontal space to fit them, but for these other doors, there is, so they do not go underneath the floor. Oh yeah, this chapter also has some default Unreal Engine material here. This is the giant water slide at the end of the chapter. In the area before that, there is a little bit of a lack of material blending here. After completing the little puzzle and lighting all those thingies up, this is the water as it falls down after that sequence. This water, which looks a lot different than the more clear water in the slide, it just sits below that water. Look at him sliding. Alright, that's a wrap for chapters 1 through 4 in Spirit of the North Out of Bounds. This video project essentially took me like 3 weeks to make, besides the fact that I spent a whole month playing a different video game called Endling for some reason, and I never worked on this project until today, which is the day I depart to go to Serbia. Oh wait, no, that's tomorrow. Good enough. This is the last night that I have where I can just talk. So the talking today was the only thing that I did after a month. So the recording was done a month before. Anyway, that's not going to be the end of this Spirit of the North Out of Bounds exploration, and as I am willing to finish with chapters 6 to 8 after I am back from my trip to Serbia, which will be in a few weeks. Please show me support if you would like to see that, and maybe let me know what you think about what I've discussed in this video so far. Thanks for watching.